I abandoned my YouTube channel with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and that just made no sense. I'm a long form content girly. I can't do all this 30-second. Hey YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Truthfully, this video is more for my OG subscribers. It's for the people that have been following this channel for a long time, saw what they saw on my channel last year, and it serves as a bit of an explanation for what was supposed to happen, what ended up happening, and what is going to happen on this channel going forth. But that being said, I will have a more general part for, I think, like content consumers and content creators alike on where I think we're going in terms of content and why, for at least for me, YouTube is it. I feel like I should go into retirement by now because I've been on the internet for such a long time, and not just on the internet, but like I've had communities, I've created communities, and I've been creating content for large groups of people for such a long time. It started with MySpace when I had my little scene kid phase. A lot of you guys probably didn't know about that, but I had like 30,000 followers on MySpace when I was in 7th grade. And so that was a thing. And then, you know, YouTube grew to be what it was. And then I went on to Instagram principally, and now I'm on TikTok. And I just feel like I've done so much on so many platforms in a career that spans like 10 years. I've seen a lot of things. And I can finally say what I think older people say when they're like, I've seen this before. And I can give a guess of where we're going. So with that being said, I don't know if you'll find the first half of the video interesting if you haven't been here before, but that's how this video is going to be structured. So to my OG followers, I apologize for essentially abandoning my channel. I apologize for the fact that I think 10 videos went up in total in 2023, and the 2 most recent ones were essentially just ads, had like just random. Honestly, I went into 2023 with the best of intentions for this channel. The plan was to come back to YouTube, and I prepared for that. I spent the last half of 2022 to, you know, develop and produce Unpacked, which you guys saw, and I was really proud of that series. And I bulk edited it before I went to Nigeria in January. And the idea was, since I bulk filmed and I bulk edited, I was like 3 months in advance, and I wouldn't need to start posting anything until like March of 2023. And I was like, I'm so ready to get back to YouTube. And I told my agency that manages me, I'm like, you guys can start. I've always made pretty much more money on Instagram. YouTube was never my money-making platform. And so the agency that I'm with, I think I'm the only person in the agency that even has a YouTube channel. So even with them, and the fact that they manage all of my work, they don't usually propose to do things on YouTube. But at that time, because I'm like, no, YouTube is going to become a central part of my content, you guys can start proposing YouTube to brands as well. And that is what they did. The unfortunate thing is those were the plans. What ended up happening is I completely and totally underestimated wedding planning. Some of you are probably like, what do you mean, Tia? You were already married. Yes, I was. But if you remember what I said in that video about my wedding, I also said this.
We just wanted to get the bureaucratic part out of the way. This wasn't for either of us, you know, especially not for me, the big wedding celebration, because we knew that at this point, my family wasn't going to be able to come. And I mean, how can I have my wedding without my family there? And even his family, like, we were kind of throwing it all together last minute. So it's not like we could really do anything special. I'm really excited, especially because now I get to start planning the real thing. We get to start budgeting the real thing. Honestly, this was the real thing, because this was the one that made it correct in the eyes of the law. But we now get to start planning the party. And I'm not going to go too much into that because I want that to kind of be a surprise too. But let me just like say that it's going to be pretty freaking amazing if it goes as planned.
And so that is why I decided to, along with my partner, of course, to have my wedding in Jamaica. Planning a wedding in and of itself is a beast. But when you're now planning a transcontinental destination wedding, as they would call them, things just take on a whole new life of their own. Our wedding was in November 2023, and I kid you not, from February 2023, that's when shit just got real for the wedding. Like, suddenly, Every weekend, every moment of free time that I had was going towards planning the wedding. And every euro that I had, every extra euro was going towards the wedding. I don't know why this always happens to me, because it happened to me with the house as well, but whatever. The wedding cost a lot more than I was expecting it to cost. We ended up paying more than double what we had actually budgeted for the wedding. And I don't feel that bad about that, because in the end, we ended up paying what people pay on average, but it just wasn't what I went into it wanting to pay. So anyways, suddenly there was a huge crunch to make money. I needed to make money. I didn't necessarily need to make a lot more money than I was used to, but I needed to make money, and I also had no material time. So that is how YouTube ended up being put on the back burner. No matter how many times I tried, and you guys, I did try. I have folders and folders of videos that were supposed to go up last year. Something would always come up. In the spring, I had an issue with staffing, and so one of my really good team members was leaving the team, and I had to find somebody to replace her. And then there was all of that. There's also the fact that, and I'll get to that after speaking about the wedding, that I was also starting a new company in Nigeria. I think I mentioned that in my Nigeria vlog. And on top of all of that, I was planning the wedding. So it was just impossible to upload videos. But in the meantime, my agency was still proposing my YouTube channel to clients. And so it happened not once, but twice, that a brand would come, the contract would already be signed. A lot of the times, I get, and you guys will probably have opinions on this, but this is just the way it is. I get the deal once it's already been signed and agreed that I'm going to do it. Hi there, Tia from the future. I'm editing this video and I wanted to add a little note. So yeah, this is just the process for my sector of Instagram sponsored ads, which are usually with fashion and consumer goods. The agency contracts the contract, and then I do what the contract says. Of course, I have the option to say no if the brand isn't in line with my ethics, or I really don't it doesn't make sense to do the brand or the collaboration, but that's never happened because my agency knows me. So they've never brought to me something that doesn't make sense for me to do. So what would happen, it happened twice, that in addition to the normal collaboration that I would have on Instagram, where it's very Instagram heavy, they would ask for a little YouTube video here or there. And it wasn't supposed to be a problem because both times I had planned for there to be content around those ads, organic YouTube videos, unsponsored YouTube videos before and after those videos. But I just, at the very last minute, wasn't able to because I was just so overwhelmed with wedding planning and everything else that was happening in my life. Wedding planning or not, they were contracts and I had to fulfill my end of the bargain, which meant putting that video up regardless. It's just the way it kind of went. Up until the very end, up until November, up until the wedding, I still thought that I was going to be on YouTube. I still thought that I was going to vlog my wedding and that was going to be a content moment in 2023. But it didn't happen because I'm human. And as I mentioned, planning a wedding is a lot. I was starting a company. I also had to still be active on Instagram, other places, and it just wasn't feasible for me to be on YouTube. So that is the explanation as to why I thought I was going to be, I thought 2023 was going to be the year of YouTube for me, why it wasn't, and also why you guys might have saw some random ads on my page. And I apologize for that because that wasn't right. You guys deserve more than that. And yeah, I take full responsibility and hope that you'll still stick around despite the fact that that happened. But I hope that you understand where I'm coming from and the fact that, going forward, now that the wedding is finished, I'm not planning a wedding anymore. Now that the company has been launched, so it's not in those early stages of needing to just cradle everything. I mean, still need to cradle a lot, but it's not like it was. I have a lot more free time on my hands. Even today, it's Fashion Week in Milan right now, and usually during Fashion Week, I have no time. But things are structured in such a way that I'm able to sit down with you guys and make this video and just talk about what I want to talk about. And that's so nice. Since I didn't get to talk about them on YouTube, you guys still deserve to know exactly what happened. The wedding. I mean, if I can find, and because I tried vlogging it, I do have some wedding content that I could probably share if you guys are interested. I did document on my other social medias a bit of the experience of, like I said, planning a so-called destination wedding for Italians, Jamaicans, Nigerians, and Americans in Jamaica. That was quite an experience. I'm still experiencing it because I'm supposed to get my wedding pictures back today and I didn't see any mail saying that I got them back. So until I get the pictures and the video in April, we're still in this experience. At least the day itself was so beautiful. I was so happy the day of. I was so happy the day after. There was a lot of times going through it where I'm just like, oh my God, all this money, all this effort, so many emotions, so many people involved, and it was a lot. Up until the night before, like me and Enrico argued, and I also had like a bit of a nervous breakdown. But the day of, half because I was so exhausted. It was an exhausting year, and I just couldn't do what I usually do, which is take control of everything and, manage everything. Normal Tia would have been checking the photos that were being taken. Normal Tia would have had a list of content ready to go and been like, hey, everybody get in line. We're doing this. But this Tia that was so exhausted couldn't do that. And since she couldn't do that, she was forced to actually just live the day, actually let people around her rise to the occasion and do what they were supposed to do, what some of the people were paid to do. And what ended up happening is that I had a very beautiful wedding that I actually lived every moment. And that to me is beautiful. I'm so happy we did it. And it's an amazing memory for all of us. The fact that we were able to get, as I said, 50 people to Jamaica from all different parts of the world and just live that week together was priceless. And I feel so, so privileged that I was able to do it. And even if it meant I had to sacrifice my YouTube channel, I'm happy that we were able to do it. And as soon as I get the video, it's going on YouTube first. You guys will be the first ones to see it. On the other hand, as I also said, accennato, that I actually started a company in Nigeria. If you follow me on Instagram, if you follow me on TikTok, you already know about this. You already know about the company. I'm really excited about it. Long story short, it is a consulting and concierge service for people in the diaspora that are interested in going back in some capacity and doing something. You guys remember when I went to Nigeria the first time in 2019 and how that was just such a transformative experience for me. YouTube, welcome back to my video. You're probably coming to this video and I had so much energy afterwards and I had so many ideas and so many things that I wanted to do. The issue is, and I mean, it wasn't really an issue for me, but I saw that it would be, and I've heard that it has been an issue for other people, is that there's so much missing infrastructure, information, transparency to even get to that point. Like, if you're just somebody in the diaspora the way I was, in the sense that I don't have these strong ties with the country, I had never been before, so how do you go? What happens if your parent can't take you? What happens if you don't have a passport? Nigeria is not the place where you can just kind of Google and get there. So this company is supposed to act as that bridge. Everything from the moment of you saying, I want to go to Nigeria, and then actually getting there and being a functional, independent person in Nigeria is what our company does. We get you from that point A of I want to be there to the point B of I can now be here on my own and do what I want to do, which then leads to the overall development of the country. So I'll probably put our launch video here on my YouTube channel so you guys can see it. And that explains it better. We also have our website that explains pretty well what we do. And yeah, that's another thing that I did in 2023. I was in Nigeria 4 times last year, and it's been really exciting. So that's what Tia's been up to. But now, what about the future? And also, like I said, I do have just a general thing to say about YouTube and why YouTube is it. YouTube is it, you guys. What I want to do with this channel is I want to go back to the roots a bit. Like, I want this channel to go back to being a sort of digital diary for me, talking about my life in Italy and beyond, and what I'm doing, my experiences as Tia. And I want it to be done at a higher level. I want it to have like a higher production value. I want it to be more thought out, nicely edited. I want to put out nice finished pieces of content, and I want to do it relatively consistently. Of course, my goal is to go back to doing once a week. But for now, because we've already seen that I have challenges with actually assessing what I'm capable of and what I want to do, like the distance between the two, let's say twice a month until June. That is the plan. YouTube for me, YouTube was the thing that created my community. YouTube was the thing that created a legacy. YouTube is the reason why I'm not like any other influencer in Italy. I'm Tia Taylor, the American in Italy that talked about all of these things in this way. And that's because of YouTube. So even if YouTube, the platform, wasn't necessarily paying me like other platforms, and even if like I didn't have the same amount of brand deals on YouTube like I do on other platforms, the people that follow me on other platforms are still following me because of that base that YouTube gave me, if that makes sense. So first of all, YouTube made me. Second of all, YouTube is the one platform where I get to make content in the way that I want to make it. I'm a talker, as you can clearly see. This video is already 17 minutes long. I don't know if it'll be 17 minutes once I edit it, but I've been talking for almost 20 minutes now without pause. And that's how I am in real life. And I know that since I've stopped being on YouTube consistently, people in real life, like, they can't even take me. She just never shuts up. And she laughs at her own jokes like this. Anyways, I'm a talker. I'm a long form content girly. I can't do all this 30-second and photos, and like I never liked Instagram in that way. I was always resistant to the I'm gonna have to take pictures, I'm gonna have to do reels, I'm gonna have to do TikToks. Like, that was never my thing. I did it because I can, and I love what I do. I love to be able to do what I do. But let's just say that that's not the way I like to create content, and that's not necessarily the kind of content that makes me and my heart like fly. That's the content that I was able to make on YouTube. That was the connection that I was able to have on YouTube. So as a creator, whether I'm making money on it or not, YouTube really feeds my creative soul. And so I need to be here. But I also think that from the consumer perspective, this is what people want. As I said, I've been here for a while, and things tend to go in cycles because people don't change. Situations change. The world has definitely changed. But people don't change, and they tend to do things again and again. So what we saw was YouTube and this form of consuming content came about during the Great Recession, when people had to be resourceful, when people needed inspiration, when people, when the world was going through a huge shift. And we saw what happened afterwards. So many things came out of that. The whole the creator economy was born, and then we got streaming, and so many things happened after that, those first initial YouTube videos. And we got to a place where, part of the so many things that happened is a lot of people made money, and a lot of things were changed. Like, you went from kids in school saying they wanted to be doctors and astronauts when they grow up to now kids want to say that they want to be YouTubers when they grow up, which I have my own opinions on that. But the point is, I feel like we're coming back to another cycle, because while we never got to pre-2008 levels in terms of like in a lot of things, there was still relative prosperity. People were still making money. People felt relatively stable. I think that by 2019, people felt like stability was more or less there. But then you have 2020 and the pandemic and the around the world. And now we're at another, I feel, precipice. I wasn't there in the same way in 2008, but it feels very 2080. There's a lot of economic anxiety. People feel very unstable and they're needing to be resourceful, and I feel like they want to be inspired. And additionally, not just learning things and being inspired by things, but also the community aspect of it, learning and being inspired from within a community. No other platform really does that like YouTube. No other platform allows you to, as I said, sit through a 27-minute video, the same 27-minute video that other people are sitting through, and then go in a comment section that allows you to discuss it at length, no character limit, with the same people periodically. That is another thing that I got from YouTube and I think people are searching for today. Just a very simple example for me. In 2007, 2008, I was watching makeup tutorials to learn how to do my own makeup because I wanted to. I wanted to look that good, but I was also in middle school. I didn't have the money to go to a makeup artist, but I wanted to look like that. So I had to learn how to do it on my own, be resourceful. Then as time goes on, now, like, there are so many parts of my beauty routine. Like, I go to the hair salon. I refuse to do my hair myself, even though I know how to do it because I watched the YouTube tutorials years ago. I go and I get my nails done. I don't do my nails myself like I used to. There's so many things that I don't do myself now because I lived that prosperity, that limited amount of prosperity that we had a few years ago. I can afford to incorporate all of these new things into my routine. And for example, I feel like now that a lot of income has been lost, a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford the same things that they could afford a few years ago. They're going to have to go back to being resourceful. So this was a really long-winded explanation as to why I think we're going to see people go back to, for example, tutorials, which I think YouTube is great for, but not just tutorials. People want to get more value out of their content. People don't have time, especially when they're being bombarded by content everywhere. And so it's not going to be enough anymore to post the pretty picture or to put out the funny reel. People want to actually feel like when they put their phone down, when they put their tablet or turn their TV off, they walk away with something, that they learned something, that they're motivated to do something. People are tired of being depressed. It's very depressing outside. People want to get something from the content that they're consuming all day. So that means that your content is going to have to provide more value, and it's going to have to touch on those key core needs that content consumers have of wanting to be inspired and needing to be resourceful during a very hard time. YouTube is the platform that lets people do that and lets people get that. To this day, even if I stopped making YouTube videos, I never stopped watching YouTube. YouTube is still the platform where I consume the most content. I consume more YouTube than Netflix, more than Instagram, more than TikTok. And I have a very curated algorithm where the videos that I watch have to give me some sort of value. Either I'm learning something about social media, or I'm watching somebody I like, or somebody is talking about something that makes me think and makes me feel like I'm more in tune with what is actually happening. I watch YouTube for very specific, value-rich content. And so I think we're going to see more of that. I don't think that the other platforms are going to die. I think that they have, especially TikTok has an amazing algorithm. And so people are still going to use those. But I do think that long form content that can grab people's attention and leave them with something after, leave them feeling something, is going to be it. There's a whole conversation right now about the YouTubeification of TikTok. And my thing is that For me, the user interface of TikTok is just not comfortable for consuming long form content. When I'm listening to somebody speak on YouTube, it's mostly like a podcast. I rarely sit down and watch the video. I'm usually listening to it while I'm doing other things because, like I said, we have to be resourceful. We have to feel like we're still doing something. I can't feel like my precious time and attention can be wasted. And TikTok doesn't really allow you to do that yet. You still have to have the app open. You have to be focused on that. Even if you have the app open and you're doing other things, like when the video is over, you still have to swipe. And so I can't imagine myself opening the TikTok app and keeping it open for 30 minutes to watch a long form video. Whereas I do that routinely with YouTube every day, all day. And I know that some people might point out Reese TC or TC Reese, the woman that just like got 1 million followers on TikTok because she released that 50-part series. I also watched all 50 parts, and Enrico watched a good 25 parts with me. The thing with Reese TC or TC Reese, I need to get her name right, but I don't remember what it was and I'm already filming, is that aside from being an amazing storyteller, she had a story that was equal parts unbelievable and equal parts relatable. So people could relate to it, but also be like, oh my God, I want to know what's about to happen next. I feel like that's a rare combination. And that was the only thing that could make me watch a 50-part series on TikTok. I don't know. You guys tell me, but I don't see myself doing that again. If that kind of content were pushed out on YouTube, I would watch it. I would click it. If I saw her same thumbnail with her same title being spread around on social media or even on my YouTube home, I would have clicked it and I would have watched it. But I don't think that I would do that for TikTok. I could be wrong. And I think that's what makes YouTube different. So all of this to say, I abandoned my YouTube channel with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and that just made no sense. Because YouTube is it, because I love making YouTube videos, because I love the connection that YouTube gives me to people, and because it's just different from every other platform. At a time when a lot of people are scaling back on YouTube, which I think there's reasons for that, and I think that they're correct, I still think that we're going to see a lot of people coming back, and I'm one of those people. So if you made it this far in the video, you should definitely like and subscribe, because I have a lot of ideas to put out there. I'm feeling very energized, very creative, and this time is it, because I'm not planning my wedding right now. So I can be on YouTube. That being said, thank you guys so much for sticking around, especially if you are, as I said, an old-time subscriber. I appreciate it so much. More and more, I am realizing just how lucky I am, because it's very easy to get sucked into your own situation as a human. And also as humans, we automatically dwell on the more negative aspects of our reality. Nothing is ever perfect. Being a content creator is not all fun and games. But that being said, I love what I do. I love the independence it gives me. I love the impact I'm able to have, and that far overshadows all of the negative issues around this career path. So that being said, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for you guys for allowing me to be in this position to be able to do this. And I have to thank you for it every single day. We're almost at 30 minutes. This is almost a half-hour video. And I feel so good that I did it. I think that's gonna be it for me right now, you guys. I'm smiling ear to ear, already feeling happier because I'm back on YouTube. Ah! I'll see you guys in my next one. Mwah.